Hello everybody, my name is Tobito, and welcome back to Bendy in the Dark Revival, and the game has just gotten a new update. As you're about to see, we're not doing part 2, but we're doing this little archives update right here. If you recall from Bendy the Ink Machine, there was an archives level known as chapter ? And it would display pretty much all like the old models and some of the new ones too. So we're going to go ahead and take a dive right into this update since it just came out today. Without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into the archives. And we're here. Oh. So we're instantly greeted by Bendy. Interesting. Am I still Audrey? Oh. Am I Henry? I don't have a Oh, okay. This is the exit. It's a linker, but it doesn't say it. Okay, so are we Henry? We don't have a body, we're just inanimate. The Archives. Welcome to the Archives. Bendy the Dark Revival is filled with numerous characters that each had a critical role to play in the progression of the game. Here in the Archives, you will learn a little bit more about them in an up-close and personal way. Feel free to explore. So, if you're unfamiliar with what the Archives was in Bendy and the Ink Machine, it's pretty much just like right here, like showing all the models. They're all in a freeze-framed position. Some of them are made smaller just so they can, be to scale with the thing. There isn't signs next to them, which was a different thing from Bendy and the Ink Machine. But enough about me babbling about all the old stuff. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Bendy. Bendy, the iconic imp, was redesigned for Dark Revival to stand out a bit from his traditional cartoon appearance by giving a suit of clothes. He posed a minor challenge, specifically creating a face that supported the classic Bendy eerie smile, but still managed to be heartwarming in the right conditions. He is a fan favorite, so his design had to be just right. During production, we originally envisioned Bendy to talk with a series of cute squeaks to contrast the dark, low voice of the Ink Demon, but this turned out to be very distracting and the idea was scrapped pretty early on. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So he was originally going to communicate with little squeaks and stuff. That's really cute. We got the Ink Machine too. We actually never really got to see the Ink Machine in the game. I guess this is our first look about what it would look like. We saw it in the trailers of the very early version of the game whenever it was first announced. But yeah, we have the Ink Demon here. Yeah, you can see he's very menacing. The Ink Demon. As the world of Dark Revival became more complex and established, we realized the Ink Demon's design needed a complete rethink to match our new tone. Oh. Previous versions of his appearance looked absolutely silly when placed in the world alongside the other characters. No amount of creepy music or screen effects would conceal how out of place he looked. The Ink Demon needed to look different than everything else in the world and show a natural progression of the Ink Demon's evolution as Wilson held the cycle in place. Oh, so that's why he looks different, because they thought his design looked silly. Okay. Thanks for explaining that to us, Bendy team. Okay, Beast Bendy. Returning for the climax of Dark Revival, Beast Bendy also was revisited with the mindset of making him far more powerful and beast-like. Traditionally, in most horror games, they tend to build to a point where the main villain becomes a final form monster as a final boss. It's practically a trope. Our idea, what if you got to play as that final form instead? See, this is what I like about the Bendy team. They always think outside the box. You guys at Joey Drew Studios, you guys always have the best ideas. We got our main character, Audrey. Wait, hold on. She's called Cartoon Audrey. That's interesting. Audrey is a kind-hearted rogue with courage, determination, some flaws, and a deep, dark past. To make our story work, we needed a newcomer to the cartoon studio world, and Audrey was the perfect fresh eyes to experience the adventure. From one day of production, we knew that if people didn't connect with Audrey by the end of the game itself wouldn't be successful. Fortunately, she turned out to be quite memorable indeed and stands out from the other members of the cast. So yes, we got our main character of the game, Audrey. Very nice design. I like how it kind of combines the attributes of her character from the world and how the ink just completely mixes in with her character. I'm pretty sure the Ink Demon,
hello there.
Audrey also got a slight model change, except the Ink Demon, of course, got a total model change. Cartoon Wilson. Wilson was a difficult character to balance. At first, the players are purposely led to believe he is a one-note character, obviously evil with an over-the-top villain personality. But as the story progresses, we see other sides of the character and the player becomes muddled with who this man really is. In one draft, Wilson was written as a servant of Nathan Arch Jr., a separate character at the time, but the story made far more sense when the two characters became one, eliminating a lot of needless narrative complexity. And I love the graphics in this game. What about the Ink Machine? Did we get an explanation on the Ink Machine? Ah, here we go. The Ink Machine, designed by Thomas Connor of the Gent Corporation, stolen by Joey Drew, retrieved by Archgate, and once again reclaimed by Gent. The Ink Machine's next adventure is a mystery. Oh, so that's obviously hinting to us that we will get another Bendy game, and that this is not the end of the journey yet. Oh, we got a little cash register here too. Yeah, the one that the Lost Ones absolutely destroyed. Oh, it's a Harold! Too much dry air, not enough fish food. I can't believe we found Harold. I know what you're thinking. I could be filming part 2 right now, but nope, I decided to film this. That's just the way I am, I'm sorry. Part 2 would take way longer to edit anyway. So we have Betty, a faithful maid, among other things, to Wilson. Betty was an important character to the story of Dark Revival. As a failed experiment and someone relatively new to the cartoon studio, she was able to give a somewhat different point of view of the state of the world. We have purposely left it unclear if Betty was in on Wilson's plot to harvest Audrey or if she was just a bystander. Behind her mask, there are still answers to be found. And we got Joseph Drew, or Joey Drew. Joey Drew Memory. The man, the legend, the memory. Creating this version of Joey Drew was both an exciting and daunting process. It was clear from the start that this Joey would be different from the one in the original Bendy and the Ink Machine game. This was a man with all the guilt from the past life, but without the experience to fully understand it. The real Joey Drew made many mistakes, but ultimately learned from them. This doesn't absolve him of his sins, but at the end of his life, he was able to help correct some of them and help fight the darkness he created. I love all these, like, descriptions. They're very interesting. Like, they obviously there's probably some lore. Oh, and it even has her desk and a donut. Audrey's donut. No! You can't have it, Audrey. What about the mug? That's funny. See, what I love about the Meatly and the Bendy team is they always make funny little, like, details in the game. Nathan Arch Sr. Nathan Arch was everything Joey Drew wasn't. Ooh, that's kind of harsh. He worked hard, built up from nothing, and never compromised his integrity. Joey had big dreams, but Nathan accomplished his own dreams. He and his wife Tesla raised a son with as much love and care as they could, despite Nathan's career pressures. Sadly, his son did not share Nathan's natural talent for business and enterprise. Audrey, the unknowing daughter of an animation pioneer. Audrey has blocked out the memory of her past after losing her father, but his role in her life was not over. A talented animator and artist, her skills landed her a job at Archgate. Was it fate that led her to reunite with Joey Drew's machine, the machine of her birth, or was it planned? Ooh, a little bit of suspense going on here. Wilson, haunted by the impossible shadow of Nathan Arch, Wilson sought to achieve something that would make his father proud. Of course, we all know Wilson has father issues. By luck, he stumbled upon the Ink Machine and was able to become the cartoon world's new master. Holding the cycle in place, he continued his experiments that could not be fully realized until the Ink Demon was purged. However, unnaturally entering to and from the Ink realm was taking a toll on Wilson's physical being, slowly robbing him of his health. So that's why he's like coughing and he has obvious lung issues that I stated in the first video. I actually want to take a moment to like look at the Ink Machine because we don't get a good look at it. It looks very similar. I don't remember this little vent being there before, but of course you got all the gears and cogwheels and the giant ink pipes draining down to the little black ooze. One thing I did notice about Bendy and the Dark Revival is with the textures, they kind of mixed the old textures from the beta of Bendy and the Ink Machine and the smoothness of the ink in the final version of Bendy and the Ink Machine to create like this new texture for the ink. Anyway, so let's go ahead and head over here. Alright, so we have the Cyclebreakers. Oh, so we got the trio, I guess you could say. So we got Henry Stein, the original Cyclebreaker. Henry Stein is the ghost of a man who lost his purpose years ago. Once Field was finding a way to escape the tortures of the Ink Demon and finding his way home to his wife. Henry is now left with the cold reality of being a recreation of the person he thought he was. Saved as a special surprise for fans of Bendy and Ink Machine game, Henry was strictly omitted from all public discussion of the character during the entire production, which spanned several years, but Henry returned with a very satisfying face reveal. But yes, I love the design of Henry. Henry's design is very great. His design just has a sentence that goes with it, like his outfit, Just matches everything. And I like his hairstyle too. His hairstyle is quite nice. You know, comb back with like a couple of strands of hair coming down. Almost looks like Ogata's hair from Golden Kamui. And we have Allison. I like her redesign for Bendy the Dark Revival. I feel like her redesign gave her like a lot more character than what she had in the original game. Allison, returning for another victory over the Ink Demon. Allison is always the voice of reason, a beacon of hope. Allison's design was carefully upgraded from the previous Bendy and the Ink Machine game to maintain her personality, but with more fidelity. The purpose of meeting Allison so early in the campaign was to introduce the player to a familiar face after the main introduction. At the start, Allison was able to serve as the motivating force for Audrey until the true plot kicked in later. Tom is Allison's silent protector and the only Boris clone involved in the main story. Where is Boris the Wolf? Rumor has it that during the events of the game, Boris experiencing a dark survival story of his own. Oh, wait, hold on. That's a reference to Boris in the Dark Wait, hold on a second. I'm not super horror bro. Oh yeah, by the way, he made a video on this. Go check it out. But I'm not super horror bro, but I have a theory. Does Boris in the Dark Survival take place during... No, it shouldn't. No, it can't take place during Bendy and the Ink Machine. Or, I mean, sorry, Bendy the Dark Revival, because the Ink Demon still looks the same way as he does in Ink Machine. So hold on a second. He doesn't have his Dark Revival model just yet. Oh, we got everyone's favorite lost one, Porter. I love Porter. Porter's an awesome character. He has like a dark, there's like a dark sense to him, but he's like that one character that tries to blow all like the darkness away and just like, he's really goofy character. That's what I really like about him. He's very animated too. For a lost one, he's super animated. Porter. As the cycle was held in place, and with the influence of the Ink Demon held at bay, the cartoon world was able to grow and advance, creating such characters as Porter, a lost one who came to claim a new identity as an explorer. Porter was written with the knowledge that Dark Revival would feature a far more serious tone than the first game of Bendy and the Ink Machine, and his lighthearted innocence would help the player feel some warmth in the inky world of sorrow. And then we have Heidi. Heidi wasn't really like paid attention to. She was kind of like only there for one part of the game. Was she even in the ending? I don't think she was even in the ending, like, whenever you, of course, play as Beast Bendy. Heidi. It is believed that Heidi has spent some time in the pit as a prison set up by Wilson and the Keepers. It is unclear why, but most likely she was able to access places she shouldn't have. The experience in the pit changed her, as it does many, reverting her into a childlike state, longing for happiness again. Alright, this room looks... Oh, wait, hold on. These are like the... Ooh. Oh, these things are terrifying to deal with. I hate the Keepers. In the game, they're just terrifying. Like, oh, you can't even see them all the way. You could just... They are tall characters, don't get me wrong. But, like, the design of it, you just see the arm, like, coming out of the other arm. Then you see gears and all these wires connecting it. These remind me a lot of the Projectionist. I don't know if the designs were based off the Projectionist, but they sure did remind me of the Projectionist. The Keepers. Wilson's deadly guards and scientists. They aren't perfect, but the Keepers will get the job done, no matter the cost. They are responsible for pressing the Ink Demon inside a smaller form, keeping his power sealed away until Audrey came along and unknowingly changed the situation. The Keepers were visually designed to reflect the dangers and evils of the Ink Machine itself, faceless beings made of gears and wires, with no sense of morality, ordered around like cattle, a creation living without purpose. The Butcher Gang. Barley, Charlie, and Edgar, the three original members of the Butcher Gang, were formed from the Ink Machine, deconstructed by Alice Angel for body parts, and bond together to stay alive with sneak attacks on their prey. In Dark Revival, we meet an artificial fourth member of the gang, Carly, the Ghost Girl. Although when you begin to examine her closely, Carly appears to only be a shell with perhaps something inside. Huh? So of course you got the Piper, the Fisher, the Striker, and the new Slicer. Then of course we have their cartoon forms, Charlie, Barley, Carly, and Edgar, which that doesn't sound right in my mind because I've been with the thing for so long. It's hard to say like the fourth Butcher Gang member. Ooh!
No! Don't look at me! Stay away!
Everyone's favorite what do we consider a lost one? I think Sammy's unique. He shouldn't be considered a lost one, nor a searcher. He's kind of like a mix between, actually.
Oh shit!
Okay, Sammy Lawrence, the famous music composer of the studio. Sammy Lawrence originally had a slightly larger role in the story of Dark Revival, but in a story already filled with so many characters, making them all play a meaningful part became a challenge. He was ultimately sidelined in favor of telling a more coherent storyline.
It's time to believe!
Although it is interesting to note that Sammy Lawrence appears to have mastered the flow ability in Bendy and the Ink Machine long before Porter and Audrey could wield it. Wait, what? Yeah, because Sammy could, like, make portals and stuff. He could, like, travel. That's right. Oh, I never thought of it like that. He still doesn't have ears. I'm surprised how he hears. I would have loved to see more of Sammy Lawrence. He played a huge role in Bendy and the Ink Machine. I would have loved to see him in Bendy and the Dark Revival. Like it says, like, play a larger role. But I guess it does make sense because, you know, there is so much characters in this game. It's, like, overwhelming how you have to keep up with everything. Alright, who's next? Oh, we got Lord Amok. Ruler of a sewer cult, Lord Amok illustrates how the world of the ink had continued to develop into different societies deep within the darkest places. Though he was weak in a fight, his name will simply never die. I remember fighting him. I thought it was going to be like a whole like climactic fight scene, like a boss, but all it is just a simple, just lost one fight. Got Alice Angel. Oh, I thought she'd have a way bigger, way larger paragraph for her. Because she does play a huge like role in Bendy in the Dark, sorta. The self-appointed queen of the studio, Alice Angel is one of the most memorable faces in the Bendy world. Forever lost on a tide of insanity, she is absolute delight to write for as a character. An angel with many layers. Time will only tell if this inky temptress will ever reappear. Ooh, Bendy team, you're just hinting at too much stuff. What the heck? Oh, that's terrifying. King Widow. Ink Widows have begun to infest where the light grows darkest. Their king, the biggest and most feared, will only emerge from its nest when it's young or threatened. Ugh. I remember seeing these characters for the first time in Chapter 3, and I was, like, absolutely disgusted by how these characters look. It's nothing to say bad about the design, it's just, you know, it captures, like, like, I don't have arachnophobia, but it just took arachnophobia to a whole different level. The funny thing is that the first time I ever actually fought the Widows, it reminded me of like a head crab from Half-Life, and it was kind of funny. And it also reminded me of like the crablets, of course, from Boneworks / Bone Lab. Alright, we got Shipahoy Dudley, the demented invention of Wilson.